Yes, I've started recording now.
And I can see Suvin's hand go up even before you begin.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Suvin. Can we start the session first?
Yes,
Hello,
ma'am.
ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yeah, Aryan.
So good evening. Um, Thank you so much for joining in, and it's really nice to talk to all of you. I joined Mayo College in 2009, which was 11 years ago, in the fourth grade, and I was as young as most of you are as of now. And Ma'am Rakhi taught me English in the fifth and the sixth grade, and I've known her since I was 8 years old. So it's been a very long time since I've actually spoken to people from the junior school, teachers and students, and it's an honor for me to do so, and it's a great opportunity. So thank you so much, ma'am, for yeah, bringing me on board to do this. And I'm extremely young. I'm only 19 years old right now, and I have limited stuff to share with all of you. So I think I'll do my best to answer all the questions that you have, and to give you a little bit of an idea of what I think you should work on during the lockdown. And otherwise, now since we're not in the lockdown, while you're at home, while school is, of course, either in vacation mode or not physically functional right now. So I'm sure you must be busy with all the virtual classes and the activities that the junior school is sending you. Teachers must be giving you assignments and homework to do. So that's, of course, keeping you busy. But I think there's a lot more that can be done, rather than just limiting ourselves to the work that school gives us. Because the entire idea of Mayo is that we need to expand our horizons uh, and widen them as much as possible. So while we're studying our curriculum, we must also make an effort to know as much about things since we're at home. And there are a few advantages actually. Since you're very young, you've got a pause for a very long time, so you can all refresh your knowledge and your memory, and you can always use digital resources much more than you can usually in school, because school, of course, has a very rigorous routine, and our access to digital resources is also, of course, limited for obvious reasons, because we can't limit ourselves to the computer lab or to the internet rooms of our house. So we have limited access to digital resources. Now, since you're at home, you have access to your laptops, to your iPads, and all sorts of those things. So there are a few things that you can always do. To begin with, I think when you're in the junior school, it's a very important age for you to build on your linguistic skills. Now, linguistic skills are include everything right from your writing to your comprehension to the way you speak. And all of these things require a very um, concerted effort on your part. You need to be taking initiative yourselves. Um, and this is without the encouragement or, I would say, even the coercion or the forcefulness of your teachers and your parents. You need to make a concerted effort to pick up books, try and read them. Of course, I know at this age it is a little difficult for us to focus our attention on books and reading materials for very long, but we can always make an effort to at least try and read and set ourselves a target. Till today, what I personally do is that I set myself a target of about 100 and 150 pages to read a certain book. And since I'm fulfilling that target before I sleep, I am able to finish books in a period of, say, 4 days to 5 days maximum. So that really helps, because when you read and sleep, your comprehension increases, because when you read just before you sleep, your imagination and the way you dream and the way you think while sleeping really, really changes, and it gives you a lot of more insight into what you read. So if you're reading about history, or you're reading about a certain topic, or even if you're reading fiction for that matter, what happens is that when you leave the book and you go to sleep, there's so much that you need to process in your subconscious. While you're sleeping, you're always thinking about what you read. So that gives you more time to ponder, that gives you more time to process. And if you read a certain word and you sleep over it, at least in my experience, which is of course limited, I think one processes it better and one learns it better. And vocabulary building is an extremely important part of your education in the junior school. I remember in our English class, we were always taught new words and we were supposed to check it in the dictionary. Of course, since in those days we didn't have ready access to the computer all the time. But now, since the junior school has also changed dr- dramatically, if you have such great infrastructure and you have even more resources, you have the internet at your disposal almost half the day, I'm told. So you can always go on the internet and learn about words, learn about the application of that word, uh, learn how to use a thesaurus, learn how to use the dictionary effectively to your, to your use. When you're writing, you must use a host of words, not to impress the other person about your vocabulary, but to also make an impression about the knowledge of your language. Your command over the language should be fierce. It should be very forceful. You should know what you're talking about, and you should know what words need to be used when. So we don't need to be flowery in our language, but we need to be very, very circumspect. Now, circumspect means uh, concentrated, uh, and we need to think it through. Whenever you circumspectly do something, you always think it through a couple times, and then you apply what you have to say. So those are some very important things that we were taught in the junior school very long back. And I think vocabulary building starts at home. We can always expect our teachers to build vocabulary in school, but that's not how it works, because of course teachers in the junior school are also tending to about 20 kids in a class. So individual attention, though it's much more than other schools, I think initiative has to be taken by kids themselves, and parents need to play a very important role in vocabulary building and linguistics. I think the development of a child starts with his prowess at the language, if any parents are listening. So this needs to start at home. And when this starts at home, your parents need to at least give you a thesaurus or teach you how to use a dictionary. And you should make it a point to learn at least a word a day. And if you're not doing a word a day, then you should set yourself a quota of a certain amount of words every week, because that helps in the long run. So that's the first part of what I had to say. Are there any questions that you have regarding vocabulary, or the kind of books that you should read, or anything of that
I
sort?
think, Aryan, if you could just tell them where to start, because while there are many of them who are voracious readers, there are some of them who have their inhibitions in beginning to read. You know, that first book, I tell them, even if it's Geronimo Stilton, it's okay. As far as you're reading, even if it's comics to begin with, as far as you're reading, I mean, there's no specific book to start with. You
Right,
know, there's
that's true.
anything that you can read, any of the books that you started with, if you can give them tangible examples to start their journey of reading, it'll be great.
So for me, ma'am, I remember while I was in the junior school, we used to have a scholastic book fair where we used to send in um forms with
We
the
have
names of
that
the
too, we
books.
have that too.
So I think
Yes, we have that.
since the inception of a child in Mayo, I think it's inherent that one needs to read. So it's the school is doing its best by giving you the opportunity of buying the books that you want, setting you a target of at least 2 to 3 books, and then you can read them over the term. So that's the conventional way of going about it, because you give the child the option of choosing the books that he wants to read. In fact, but
Right.
I started with my grandmother when I was before I joined Mayo. My grandmother put me to reading just before I slept each night. So now in those days, I never knew about audiobooks. I don't think it was a phenomenon back then. These days, we have a very important rule uh, uh, about reading at home. So all of us read in different ways. So my mother prefers to read from a hardcover book. My grandmother likes an audio book because that helps her, because she doesn't concentrate for that long anymore. For me, I always read a hardcover, but if a child as young as you, 8, 9 or 10, I think it makes perfect sense for them to start with an audio book. You have audiobooks all over. They're available on Amazon, LinkedIn, and Kindle, of course. So we must try our best to at least get glued to audiobooks because they help us listen.
Or maybe, give a target of 7 words in a week, or certain words in a week. And he was telling us that it's a very, very good habit to read before you sleep. And I think, if I rightly remember, Adhiraj and Suvin are two boys who usually read before they sleep. Lakshiraj also had started trying that, isn't it, Lakhu? And Lakshiraj, beautiful video of yoga. I was so impressed. Class 5 has really impressed me with their video today. I'm very happy. Say thanks to Mama also. Okay, because everyone is helping us in creating those videos. We're going to launch the second video today, most probably, if all goes well. It's ready, just a few glitches here and there, but excellently done. Very smartly done. Yeah?
Ma'am, am I audible now? I think there was a glitch in the audio.
Yeah. I was just holding the fort while you were away.
No, I'm so sorry.
It's
So
okay. Carry on.
I was back to talking about
fine.
audiobooks, and so when I was before I joined Mayo, I think we didn't have audiobooks around in the market. So now, since you have, as I also mentioned, that you have your devices with you 24/7, you must make an effort to find audiobooks for yourself and read them and reread them. So of course, listen to them. I'm sorry. You need to listen to them and listen to them as many times as you process the information. That helps a lot, because before you start reading a proper book, your listening skills, your comprehension through just listening to somebody speak over the phone really helps. And I'm sure that that will also help increasing your skills of listening, your concentration, because listening is extremely important. It is often said that, of course, communication needs to have a very effective way of speech. Speech is extremely important. Yes, it is extremely important. But what I learned at school especially, is that listening is even more important. So in your assembly, you might have contemplations. In your house assemblies, there must be somebody who must be reading a book or a story or something of that sort, some global developments that are taking place, to keep yourself abreast with what is happening all around the world. So when you listen, for some people, the storage of the information is much better when they listen than when they read. So you can also employ yourself to listen to audiobooks before you actually get to reading, because reading takes a little more concentration, I'd say. So, and in fact, a very interesting piece of information is that I'm reading this book about Akbar, which is who was the Mughal emperor from 1542 to 1667, I think. So very olden times, an ancient ruler. And for him, he was a great man. And for him, his listening was much better than his reading. So in the olden times, in the Mughal court, they used to have a courtier called the Kissa Khan, who was a storyteller. And they were paid immense amount of money. They were given gold shells, they were given coins, and they were given a lot of jagirs, which were villages, to hold fort. And what they used to do is they just used to listen while somebody used to speak. So their comprehension was much better. The courtiers used to listen and these people used to narrate. So when you listen to an audiobook, it's pretty much the same because a person is modulating their voice and is constantly narrating a story. So you get to learn a lot. And also in the process, I'm sure a lot of you would pick up how to modulate your voice. Because when you modulate your voice, you also express by sheer speech. When you're speaking, if I shout at somebody and if I say stop, it gives a very different expression to what I would just tell. Say if Ma'am Rakhi is speaking, if I would just say stop, she might stop speaking, but the emotion behind that word is very bland. It doesn't have a forceful emotion. But when I say it forcefully, of course I might be held in contempt with her because I would be rude. But it is also important that we understand that the modulation of the voice, the way we speak, our volume, our pitch, our tone really matters in the way we express. And I would of course, suggest you to always adopt a subtle tone of a very soft tone while speaking. But we also must know how we can, distinguish voice modulation uh, from different people and different experiences. So I think reading and audiobooks really have a lot to impart and we have a lot to learn from them. Nobody is ever young to read. Nobody is too old to read. We should all pick up reading. It's extremely important. So that's
Some takeaway on handwriting. Aryan, if you could just speak on handwriting. I remember you had a very beautiful writing, and you still have, I'm sure. I mean, this is
Thank you so
one
much,
skill
ma'am.
that you develop while you're at junior school or even before that, and you build on. And I think a good handwriting is your first impression when you're submitting your assignment to your teacher. So if there's anything you can, any clue as to how you have the handwriting you do, be wonderful.
Right. So there are two things that, again, even with writing, I think I'd come back to reading. Reading is the prerequisite, the first part of writing. If you don't read, you can't write. If you don't learn, you can't put your ideas to paper. So you need to know that while you're reading, you need to process that information. And there are so many books that I read. There are so many books that I read, and I always have a flurry of emotion and thought when I'm reading because I'm relating to what's been written by the author. So while you relate to it, there's a lot that you also want to put to paper. If you're reading about, say, Akbar, whom I'm reading about right now, I have so much of emotion, I have so much of thought regarding the way that he is charting the course of history all throughout those centuries. So it always makes more sense for one to put pen to paper and write their their uh, their thoughts and their premonitions about what is happening, so that you get a flavor of how well you're writing. You get a flavor of employing the words that you read in the book, and at the same time it serves as practice for you to improve your handwriting. So there are two three things to it. I have a journal, I have a diary that I keep, and I write about the books that I read, and I make it a point to understand as to what is being written in the book. So it's all connected. You start reading, you start writing.
Aryan, you'll have to mute one of the participants, I think, accidentally.
Right.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
So I think, ma'am, that answers the question regarding writing. Since I think one should make the effort of uh, reading before writing. So that's pretty much it to writing. The more the practice, the better the writing,
You can
in
take
my view.
questions if you wish to. We can have questions from the children.
Aryan, sorry to interrupt. One takeaway for me is the listening process. That's very important, and especially these days. Okay,
Yes, sir.
whatever
Yes,
we
sir.
are teaching online as a teacher, I'm telling. So that's the listening part plays a vital role. So I'm really happy you put that particular portion in the discussion. So other children also must understand that your listening is very important these days. You have to have a lot of patience. Definitely, we are trying our best to incorporate those digital tools to seek your attention span in terms of listening. But that ability, that capacity of listening, you have to grow. You have to have. You can do lots of meditations and yoga also for that. You know, it's obviously a challenge at this moment, locked in the room to maintain this, but still we can develop that sense of listening. So this is very important area. I'm really happy and thankful to Aryan for covering this portion. Thank you very much, Aryan.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, one thing that you need to notice that while you grow in school, and once you go to senior school, once you sit for your college admissions, listening is one part which really helps you in the long run. It holds you in good stead. Once you listen better, you process better, and if you process better, then you answer better. So it's all connected. It's a synchronization of all processes. And for interviews and the way you present yourself, the way you speak, the way you present yourself, even as a Mayoite at different competitions and tournaments, it really helps for you to listen better. So thank you, sir, for that part. I think we should of course take all the initiatives that we've got successively. Everybody should try on their own. I think
Pleasure.
From home you have a lot of time to try and listen to audiobooks. So that can be the first part of your practice to listen better, I think.
Any questions? I believe some of the boys wanted to ask questions. Can we have Suvin? Suvin, are you ready with your question? Yeah, Adhiraj after Suvin. Okay? Or
Okay, ma'am.
maybe if Suvin isn't around, you can ask your question, beta. Shoot.
I'm here.
Okay, Suvin. Shoot now.
Aryan, I want to ask a question about law. So, if a child commits a harsh offense, so is he treated like an adult in juvenile jail?
So yeah, ma'am sent me that question and I was quite impressed because that's a very good question. And actually, I'm going to address this a little further into the session. I think we have quite a lot of time left right now, so I think I'm going to touch upon that. And before I start about speaking about the part that I've planned just after this, I'll answer your question, and it's very simple. Our age of majority, which is when you become an adult in India, is 18 years. For all practical purposes. So if you want to drive a car, if you want a driving license, if you want to ensure that you can vote, if you have a voting ID, it's all 18. But if you commit heinous crimes and if you commit offenses, as you spoke about, the age is 16. So we have a new law which came about a year and a half ago, and that law prescribes the age to be 16. So if anybody who disrespects a woman in severely drastic ways, who does not respect women the way that they should be respected and the way that they should be treated in society, these people would be punished as adults if they're 16 and above, of course.
But is it 12-year-old?
Right? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
What is the
Under 16. If it's under 16, then
so if it's under 16, then what happens is that the child goes into a juvenile justice board custody, and when the child goes into custody with the JJB, he is treated as like a child. There are counseling sessions. There is a psychologist who comes. There's a sociologist who studies the inmates of the JJB, and they try to reform the person. Now, one thing that you must know is that when somebody goes to jail, it can be called punitive. It is a sort of a punishment, but the system, society also wants to reform that person. They want to bring the best out of that person, and They want that the person should forget the past and move on with their lives. But for that, there's a lot of hard work that that certain person has to go through. So that ensures that when you go into prison or you go into JJB custody, both ways, you are punished. Of course, it is punitive. It is you need to give back to society for the crimes you committed. But at the same time, society demands that you better yourself. You are in a position to be a part of society once again and contribute to society and make society a better place for everybody to live in. That is the basic philosophy of the criminal justice system.
So it's more of a corrective measure.
Yes.
More to get, so you go off track doing something wrong and they get you back on track. They try their best to get you back on track so that you understand what is right, what
right, and
supposed to do, and don't deviate.
Suvin, if I'm not wrong, Suvin, right? So Suvin, you can always read. I can send ma'am a few very basic books that you can read about this, and you can take it up from there. And in fact, if you want to understand the basics of society and about the justice system, you can get in touch with me, and you can also get in touch with ma'am. Also, she studied sociology, so both ways you can always go and speak to elders who know about a certain subject, and they can always help you understand more. So if you discuss with them, if you analyze what they said, if you disagree with them, you can always tell them you can always express your views about a certain subject. That also helps you to think analytically, to think better, and to express better. So you should take this on. I think there are certain ideas that they should always evolve. You should never nip them in the bud, which means that you should never allow them to be in the infantile stage that they are in right now. You should let them grow, express yourself, challenge yourself to know a lot more than you already know, and take it as a challenge. It really helps. I remember when I was in the junior school, I was in PR house, and my housemaster was Mr. Paresh. I remember he's now teaching in the senior school. So I remember when I was really interested in the justice system, like you, and I used to read a lot about the Chief Justice. So the Chief Justice is the head of the judicial family of the country, and I used to read a lot about him. And in those days, we used to have very limited access to the internet in the junior school. So I remember he bought me a book. My housemaster bought me a book, got me printouts of the Wikipedia page so that I could at least understand what the Chief Justice is all about. And I remember he asked me questions about it, and he made me write an essay about it. So my first essay related to the law was when I was just about, say, 9 years old, and it was about the Chief Justice. I don't even remember what I wrote, but it really served, held me in good stead. So I really thank him, and God bless him that he really let my ideas grow rather than them just being in an infantile stage. So I'm sure that if you engage with ma'am and if you ask her more questions, if you ask your parents more questions, you can do something similar in that respect.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Suvin. Aryan, very well spoken as usual. Can I have the next question? I think Twishi and Adhiraj. Adhiraj is ready with one. Adhiraj, your question,
Yes,
please.
ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to ask, when we are in boarding school, there are days when we feel really low. We have a fight with our parents, we have a fight with our friends, we miss our parents, we get scolded by a teacher. So I would like to ask you to suggest something to us from which we don't feel low.
Right. This is
Bring our mood up.
This is an extremely important question, and I'm really happy that you brought this up, and I'll tell you why. For two reasons. One is that it's totally all right to feel homesick. It is absolutely fine to feel homesick. I think it's a very normal feeling, and every one of you should feel very proud of yourself and brave that you are staying away from your parents in school, at times all alone. You're trying to deal with immense challenges, fights with friends, challenges with different types of things that you face in school, and it's not easy at all. I'm sure it's not easy at all. So you need to take it forward, and you need to understand what you learn from those experiences. At your age, I'm sure that it's extremely difficult for you to do that, but you must make an effort. An effort always counts. Also, another part of why I find this question extremely important is that mental health and your well-being, your happiness is extremely important. You have a matron and you have a house mistress for a reason. You have these elders in your house for a reason. You need to confide in them, you need to trust them, and you need to speak to them. If you feel that there is something wrong, if you feel that there is a problem, if you feel that you are feeling extremely homesick, you need to reach out to them. You need to speak to them and you need to tell them what you feel so that they can help you out. There is no shame in feeling homesick, and there is absolutely no shame in feeling low. So that is extremely important. That being said, one thing that you need to understand is that when you're feeling low regarding a friend having a fight with you, it happens because friends are extremely important in boarding school. These are relationships that you're going to nurture for all your lives. So one thing that you need to learn is empathy. Empathy basically means that you understand another person's position. Every child has his own difficulties. Every child has his own trials and problems. Some children are good with sports. Some children are good with academics. Some children are good with painting. Some children are good with music. So there are all hosts of talents that we have in school, and we always must accept them and respect them. So you must help your friend out instead of being mean to another person, because you never know how it might affect the other person. That other boy is also staying away from home. That other boy also is going through his own set of challenges in school. You must help out. You must make an effort to reach out to your friends and try and explain your experiences to them so that they learn, and you must help them out when they are feeling low. If they feel homesick, it's going to go a very long way for you and your friend as well. And I'll just share a very small anecdote. Anecdote is a memory. I'll share a very small anecdote that I have from a very good friend of mine who's a senior of mine from Mayo. He is going to study law to the UK, and he's a brilliant student. Um, from my house, he was in DD House in the junior school, and he was in Colvin House in the senior school. His boy guardian was another senior of his from DD House, who is now studying law as well. And that boy taught my friend how to tie his laces back in DD House. And he never forgot that such a small thing and such a basic thing, which is integral to your everyday life, right? Tying your laces, tying your shoelaces was something that he was taught at Mayo, and that was taught to him not by his housemaster, not by his matron, not by his housemistress, but his boy guardian. So that is the level at which we are operating as a school, and we really need to be proud of ourselves. We need to give us a minute to ourselves and really celebrate what we've got in school. So I think we should respect our friends, we should respect our seniors, respect our juniors, and create an environment of empathy all around us. Try and understand what the other boy is going through and help them out. That's one thing that I would really suggest.
Thank you
Wonderfully
so
put,
much.
Aryan. I hope, Adhiraj, you
Ma'am,
found
I have a
something in
question.
that. Okay, there's one more boy who has a question. Who's that?
Ma'am, Tushi.
Yeah, Twishi, please.
I wanted to ask this, ma'am. When you are in class 4, you don't have so many responsibilities. When you keep going to higher classes, you get more and more responsibilities, like 4th to 6th, and then finally 12th. So when you have so many responsibilities, how you manage so much pressure on you?
Um,
Time
I
management.
again, I think that's a great question, and I'm really happy that you're thinking about responsibilities right now. But trust me, you're very lucky that you've got very less on your plate as of now. You're supposed to enjoy your time in school, make the most out of it. Because I can say for sure, I used to really hear old boys talking about this time in school that they had and the way they cherish it, and I really used to think that they were just faffing around and making no sense to me. But I'll be honest, I think it's the best time that you've got in your lives.
Aryan,
And
I think we cannot hear you. You may unmute your mic.
No,
We
I
um,
can
can't hear
hear him.
you, Aryan.
so it's not on mute. It's unmuted only. I
I
think.
can hear you. Sir, just
Uh,
check your settings, sir.
Still, we can't hear.
The
I
voice is
can
very
hear
clear.
him. Yeah, I can hear him, sir. Just check your audio settings, sir,
You can
Riktendu.
connect it to system audio.
Oh, see how they teach us, Aryan. My house
Ma'am
is
Rakhi,
run by class
sorry,
6. Yes.
Ma'am Rakhi, we can't hear you also.
Just hold on. I'll send him a message. Hold on. You can carry on, Riktendu. I'll just send him a message.
Can't hear you.
Right. So I was talking about responsibilities, and I think it's extremely important for us to understand that in the junior school, you've not got many responsibilities. The very basic things that are expected of you, which you need to do. You might need to do your cupboard, you might need to do your dorm, you might need to keep your washrooms clean. It's extremely important to do all of that, because when you start living alone, and when you start understanding as you grow up, it really goes a long way. And it's great if we can understand those responsibilities and manage them with our time. I think when I was in the junior school, I was not very great at managing my time for sure. I remember being a little late for my fallens a lot of times in PR house, but I learned to do it gradually. I learned how to I learned how to bathe in 10 minutes rather than take 20 minutes to do it. So of course, this is everything that junior school taught me. It's very basic, but we can make a lot more effort by trying and giving time to certain activities every day. I think having a routine really helps. That's something that I picked up from school and my mother. My mother's a stickler for routine, so I think we must ensure that we've got a broad skeleton in place. We should know when we need to wake up. We should know when we need to go to bed. We should know how many hours we need to read in a day for. We should know how many hours we're going to write for, how many hours we're going to spend on Netflix, how many hours we're going to spend on just browsing the internet also. I think these days the main concern is regarding time management on the internet. I think anybody who uses devices these days, at least I think Apple devices have this thing called screen time. So parents and children together must ensure that the screen time of their child is limited to a certain number of minutes or hours a day. It shouldn't exceed about an hour and a half a day. I keep my screen time, say, from an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes a day, not more than that, because that starts straining you and that starts draining you out. So your time on the internet and on your devices is it's extremely important. So try and limit it as much as you can. Don't spend hours on the internet without really making anything of it. So that's one point that I wanted to make vis-a-vis time management.
Great. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to ask something from Aryan?
Thank you. Thank
He
you,
was
Aryan.
a tiny boy like you, always with a book. He was like Shivang Clarker, no, always with a book in his hand. And often late, but gradually he caught up. He used to write very well. He had a beautiful handwriting, which is not spoken of. And all the children I teach, I remember their handwriting, and I remember his. He wrote like adults do, and I'm sure it's even better. It's gone better with time. So, anything else? Any more questions that you have in your mind? Any new boy who wants to ask something? I'm sure my new boys have 1,000 questions in their mind. Vikramaditya, if you're here, if you would like to ask anything from him. Keshav, Parikh, class 6 boys, anyone?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Just
Yeah, I
before
think
we
we-
sign off, ma'am,
Ma'am,
I'd just
Rakhi.
like,
Thank you,
I'd
Yeah,
Aryan.
someone.
thank you so much. I'd just like to make one
Yeah,
last
ma'am
point,
Rakhi.
which is the most important.
Yeah.
Can I ask one question? May I ask? Just
Sure,
For
sure, sir.
sure.
yeah, yeah. Just a very simple question. I would ask to Aryan that Aryan, could you suggest some of the digital tools for the children of their age, of class 4, 5th, and 6th, which they can surf or they can just get little idea about those tools these days, which may also relate to their studies as well as to keep themselves busy. Some very effective good tools if you can suggest, because I'm quite sure you must be aware of those tools you are using by your own.
So,
Thank you. If you can suggest something like that.
sure. Actually, to be honest, I think the most important tool is to listen, and there are a host of apps that you have on the internet. We have this one app called Elevate. You're supposed to pay, I would say, 3 to 4 thousand rupees a year, but that gives you an opportunity to do basic mental math and improve your speech and your listening a lot, because that it has exercises all the time. It's available on iOS and Android, as far as I'm concerned, I think. And it's called Elevate, Elevate. I'll just write it there, and you can always use that all for
Right.
all everybody. Um, One last point that I wanted to make was, before we sign off, ma'am, if you'd allow me,
Sure,
was
sure, Aryan, sure.
regarding respect for women and women empowerment. That's one point that we really need to learn. And I think for all Mayoites alike, it's extremely important for them to understand the importance of this. Since we're in a boys' school, since we're in an all boys' school, we're staying with boys, we only have lady teachers and matrons. Our interactions with the opposite gender are extremely limited. So I think to interact with the opposite gender is extremely important. Please make no mistake, it is extremely important. And there is no joke about it. It is important for you to interact with girls, to understand the problems that they go through, and to extend the same empathy that you would do in your house and your class and your sports field to girls as well. And there's another issue that really is important, which is about understanding the importance of respecting women. Um, the importance that is attached to respecting women is immense in today's times. We have come to a stage where we are hearing about disrespect to women every day in the newspapers and in the news. I think when we are young, we really need to emphasize on that, and we need to make sure that people understand that women are as good as men, and we need to treat them with the same lens that we treat our friends, our dad, and our brother. So let's make no mistake, women are equal to men. We are not, nobody is asking for us to treat women on a superior pedestal, but respect needs to be given to them the same amount as you would give to your mother, your sister, or even your father, your brother, your friend. It's extremely important. And as much as you interact with the opposite gender, your horizons would broaden and you would understand how it is to live in the normal world. Because we're living in an all boys school, and these things are extremely important because a lot of people from school turn up being extremely shy, and a lot of them, yes, do not know how to deal with the opposite gender. So we need to change that, and we need to change that right here, because this is the age where the most difference can be made. So That's all I've got to say. And thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much, ma'am, for organizing this and putting this together.
Thank you so much, Aryan, for sparing time, for letting me have you for a webinar. It's our first ever webinar video, so it's going to be memorable for all of us. And I'm sure it's a special memory for you, your alma mater, and doing your bit in making Mayoites feel more secure, more safe, and maybe more connected to their school while they're away, while they're in the lockdown. And brilliantly put points. I think every aspect that you've touched upon is very, very relevant. And I'm sure the children have had a lot to learn, a lot to understand, and they've got a trajectory set, to tread
Thank you so
upon. And
much, ma'am.
I hope I hope my children will follow what Aryan has said. And if you have any questions, I would share his email address with you, if that's okay, Aryan, so they can
Absolutely,
keep in
ma'am.
touch with you in case they have any issues. Thank you so much to the staff for helping me in carrying this out. It's wonderful when we do things as a team. We feel empowered. Thank you so much once again, all of you. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thanks again, Aryan.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Regards
much,
to your
ma'am.
mom and
Thank you,
grandmother.
Aryan.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.